The frontier station called Gray Harbor floated at the edge of human space, far from Earth and far from comfort. It was built from old metal and stubborn hope. Its walls were thick, its lights dim, and its people careful. Humans had learned that the edge of space was never gentle. Trade day was usually loud. Cargo drones moved back and forth. Alien merchants argued prices in strange voices. Human guards watched everything with steady eyes and hands never far from their weapons. But this trade day was different. At the outer gate, where ships were checked before docking, a single small shuttle appeared on the scanners. It was old, slow, and badly repaired. The control tower expected trouble or a scam. The shuttle landed anyway. When the gate opened, no guards rushed forward. Weapons stayed low but ready. The airlock hissed. Then something unexpected happened. A very small alien girl stepped out. She was barely taller than a human child. Her skin was a soft pale blue, her eyes large and dark. She wore a simple robe that was too big for her, tied at the waist with a thin cord. In both hands she carried a small metal case, holding it like it was very important. The guards stared. This was not normal. Sergeant Aaron Cole stood at the front. He had gray in his beard and old scars under his uniform. He had seen pirates, war fleets, and monsters that did not care about mercy. But this confused him more than any ambush. He raised one hand, signaling the others to hold position. "Identify yourself," he said calmly. The girl looked up at him. She did not seem afraid. Her voice was soft but clear. "My mother could not come to trade," she said slowly in careful human words. "So I came instead." Silence spread across the gate. Aaron frowned. "You came alone," she nodded. "Yes." "Where is your ship crew?" "I have none." Some of the guards shifted uneasily. A few whispered to each other. Aaron felt something tighten in his chest. This was wrong. This was dangerous. Either it was a trick or something had gone very badly somewhere. "You are too young to trade," Aaron said. "Where is your family?" The girl lowered her eyes for a moment. "My mother is ill. My people need the trade to continue. The agreement must not break." She held up the metal case. "This is our token," she said. "It proves who I am." Aaron took a careful step forward. He motioned for a scanner. One of the guards scanned the case. The signal was real, ancient but real. A valid trade marker from a species humans had dealt with only once before, the Cathari, a quiet species, peaceful, living near a dangerous stretch of space filled with storms and dead stars. Humans had once paid them for star path knowledge long ago. Aaron slowly reached out and took the case. He opened it. Inside was a crystal disk glowing faintly. Star maps. Navigation data through space no one else dared cross. Real trade goods. Aaron closed the case. "Do you know what this is worth?" he asked. The girl nodded. "Yes, that is why my mother sent me." "Do you know humans are dangerous?" one of the guards asked before Aaron could stop him. The girl looked at him calmly. "Yes, my people call you void predators. You survive where others die." That made several guards stiffen. "But predators can protect," she added. "My mother said so." Aaron studied her face. No lies, no fear, just trust, dangerous trust. "What is your name?" he asked. "Lyra," she replied. "And your mother?" "Marin of the Cathari." Aaron knew that name. She had signed the original trade agreement, a careful, strong leader. "Why not delay the trade?" Aaron asked. "Send word instead of coming yourself." Lyra shook her head. "The agreement says trade must be honored in person. If it is broken, other powers may claim our space. We are not strong enough to stop them." That changed everything. Aaron looked at the guards behind him. This was not just trade, this was protection. If humans refused, other species would move in. Not all of them were kind. He made his decision. "Let her inside," he said. Some guards looked surprised. One even protested quietly. "She's a kid, sir." "She's a traitor," Aaron replied, "and we don't break our word." The gate doors opened fully. Lyra stepped inside the station, her small footsteps echoing against metal floors. As she walked, she looked around with wonder. Humans were taller than her, heavier, louder. Some stared. Some softened their expressions without realizing it. Aaron escorted her toward the inner halls. "You'll stay under station protection," he said. "No one will harm you here." "I believe you," Lyra said. That simple answer hit him harder than he expected. They reached the trade hall. Normally, alien delegates came with guards, advisors, and weapons hidden under robes. Lyra came with nothing but the case. Aaron contacted command. When the station chief heard the situation, there was a long pause. "Is it real?" the chief asked. "Yes," Aaron said, "all of it." Another pause. "Then we treat her as a full representative," the chief said. "By our laws." That was the human way. Once something was recognized, it was protected by rules written in blood and history. Trade talks began. Lyra sat at a table much too big for her. A chair was adjusted. Water was brought. Food was offered, carefully chosen after scanning her biology. She answered questions honestly. Her mother's condition, her people's fears, the danger growing near their systems. Aaron stayed nearby, watching, listening. He noticed something else. Lyra never complained, not when negotiations dragged on, not when adults spoke over her. She waited, patient, brave. Later, during a break, she walked toward the wide viewing window that showed space beyond the station. Aaron followed. "Are you scared?" he asked. She thought for a moment. "Yes," she said, "but fear does not change duty." That sounded very human. Alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed. "Unidentified ships approaching," a voice called out. Aaron's hand went to his weapon instantly. He moved in front of Lyra without thinking. On the screens, dark ships appeared. Not human, not friendly. Raiders. They had followed the Cathari signal. "Lock down the station," command ordered. "Prepare defenses." Lyra looked at the screen. Her face paled slightly. "They came because of me," she whispered. "No," Aaron said firmly. "They came because they're stupid." Explosions shook the station as shields activated. Human fighters launched. Aaron knelt beside her. "You did the right thing coming here," he said. "No one takes what's under human protection." She looked at him with wide eyes. "You will fight for me?" she asked. He nodded. "For you, for the trade, for the promise." Outside, human ships moved with sharp precision. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. Humans did not need perfect odds. They needed resolve. Inside the station, the guards stood firm. Lyra watched through the window as flashes of light filled space. For the first time, she truly understood why the galaxy feared humans. And for the first time, she felt safe. The battle had only begun. The first air of the enemy came like a storm against glass. Outside Gray Harbor, space lit up with fire. Raider ships moved fast and wild, their weapons burning bright as they tried to overwhelm the station's shields. Human defense ships answered with calm precision, forming tight patterns, covering each other without spoken orders. This was not their first desperate fight, and it showed. Inside the station, alarms echoed through every corridor. Red lights flashed again and again. Heavy doors sealed. Trade halls emptied as civilians were guided to safe zones. Sergeant Aaron Cole stayed beside Lyra. One arm rested lightly in front of her, not holding her but ready. It was a small human gesture of protection. "You should go to the shelter," one of the guards said. Aaron shook his head. "She stays with me." Command did not argue. Everyone understood. If the Cathari trader was harmed, the consequences would echo far beyond this station. The station shook as something struck the outer shield. Lyra gasped, gripping the edge of the table. "They are strong," she whispered. "Stronger than the last time." Aaron crouched to her level. "Strong doesn't mean smart." He tapped his comm. "Status." "Shields holding," came the reply. "Fighters engaging. Raiders are aggressive but sloppy." Another explosion rattled the walls. Lyra closed her eyes for a second. She remembered her mother lying weak in their home, forcing a smile while handing her the trade case. She remembered being told humans were dangerous but honorable, that once they accepted responsibility, They would not let go. Now she was watching that promise being tested. A warning sounded. One of the station's outer platforms had been breached. "Boarding attempt," a voice shouted. Aaron's expression hardened. "Stay here," he told Lyra. She grabbed his sleeve. "If they take the maps," she said, "my people will be lost." He met her eyes. "They won't." He signaled 2 guards, "with me." They moved fast through narrow corridors. Human soldiers did not shout or panic. Their movements were clean, trained, efficient. Every step said the same thing: this station would not fall easily. The raiders cut through an airlock using heat tools. Smoke filled the passage. Strange shapes pushed through, tall, sharp-limbed beings with glowing eyes and heavy weapons. They expected fear. Instead, they met humans. The first raider barely stepped inside before he was dropped. The second fired wildly, hitting walls. Human rounds struck back, precise and final. The corridor became silent again, filled with smoke and the smell of burned metal. Aaron checked his team. All alive. "Seal the breach," he ordered. As engineers rushed in, Aaron felt something deep inside him settle. This was familiar. This was what humans did when the galaxy pushed too far. Back in the command center, Lyra waited. She sat very still, hands folded, breathing slow. A medic stayed nearby, but she did not ask for comfort. She listened to the sounds of battle through the walls. Minutes stretched into hours. Finally, the shaking lessened. The alarms softened from screaming red to steady yellow. "Raiders retreating," command announced. "We held." A quiet cheer spread through the station, not loud, not proud, just relief. Aaron returned to Lyra. His armor was scratched. Smoke marked his uniform, but he was smiling. "It's over," he said. She stood up quickly. "You are hurt." He glanced at a burn on his arm. "I've had worse." She stepped closer, studying the marks with concern. "You fought for me," she said again, softer this time. "We fought for what's ours," he corrected. "You're included." That night the station rested, but no one truly slept. Humans knew better than to relax too early. Lyra was given a small room near the command deck. It was simple, clean, and guarded. Aaron checked in on her before his shift ended. "You did well," he said. She tilted her head. "I only spoke the truth." "That's harder than it sounds," he replied. As he turned to leave, she asked, "Why did they follow me?" He paused. "Because your people are valuable, and because some species think humans won't protect a child." She looked down. "They were wrong." "Yes," Aaron said, "they were." The next cycle the station gathered to complete the trade officially. Damage reports were read. Losses were counted, but the agreement stood. Lyra placed the crystal disc on the table. "This is the full map," she said. "Updated. It includes safe paths and warnings." Human navigators leaned forward. Even they looked impressed. In return, human representatives presented medical supplies, defense drones, and a protection clause stronger than before. "This protection includes escort ships," the station chief said. "An immediate response if your space is threatened." Lyra bowed her head, a deep gesture of respect. "My mother will be grateful," she said. Before preparations to return her began, long-range scanners detected movement again. Not raiders, something larger, a fleet. Unknown. The room grew tense. "These signals," a tech whispered. "They're not hostile yet," Aaron frowned. "They're watching." A transmission came through, broadcast on open channels. "This is the Coalition of Outer Systems," the voice said. "We observed your defense of the Cathari representative." The room went silent. "You honored a trade made by a child," the voice continued. "You defended her as one of your own. This action has been recorded." Lyra looked at Aaron, confused and worried. "Recorded for what?" she asked. He didn't know yet. The voice spoke again. "Many believed humans were dangerous because they lacked restraint. Today you showed restraint guided by principle." The transmission ended. No threats. No demands, just observation. Command exchanged uneasy looks. "That could be good," someone muttered, "or very bad." Aaron knelt beside Lyra. "Whatever comes," he said, "you won't face it alone." She nodded, trusting him without question. Later, as her shuttle was prepared, Lyra stood at the airlock. Human crew members lined the corridor. Not ordered, they just came. One offered her a small patch from his uniform. Another gave her a simple charm made from scrap metal. Aaron stood last. "You were brave," he said. She looked up at him. "So were you," he smiled. "Tell your mother the trade stands, and so does our word." "I will," she said, "and I will tell my people that humans are not monsters." She paused, then added, "You are guardians." The airlock closed. As her shuttle drifted away, Aaron watched until it vanished into the stars. He had a feeling this was not the end. Not for her. Not for humans. Not for the galaxy that had just learned something important about what happened when humans chose to protect instead of destroy. The journey back to Cathari space was quiet but tense. Lyra's small shuttle moved through the dark like a silver seed, escorted by two human patrol ships. They flew slightly ahead and slightly behind, never too close, never too far. It was a formation meant to protect without frightening. Humans had thought carefully about that. Inside the shuttle, Lyra sat strapped into her seat, the trade case secured beside her. She watched the human ships on the display screen. Their shapes were sharp and strong, built for survival, not beauty. Yet to her they looked comforting. She remembered the battle. The explosions. The way Sergeant Aaron Cole had stood in front of her without hesitation. Humans did not shout promises. They simply acted. When the stars shifted color, Lyra knew they were close to home. Cathari space was quieter than human territory. Fewer ships, softer lights. The stars here seemed calmer, but danger hid easily in calm places. As the escort ship slowed, a message came through. "This is human patrol vessel Stonewall," a calm voice said. "We will remain at the border unless requested further." Lyra leaned forward. "Thank you," she said, speaking clearly. "My people will remember this." The human pilot paused for half a second. "So will we," he replied. The escort ship stopped and turned back, their engines flaring once before disappearing into the dark. Lyra's shuttle continued alone. When it landed, the village gathered. Cathari homes were grown, not built, shaped from living crystal and soft stone. Lights glowed gently as elders, workers, and children came out to see her. They had feared she would not return. They had feared the worst. Lyra stepped out slowly. Her mother stood waiting, supported by two healers. Marin looked thinner than before, her skin dull from sickness, but her eyes were sharp and full of worry. For one terrible moment, Lyra thought she had failed. Then her mother took a step forward. Lyra ran. They embraced, small arms around weak shoulders, holding tight as if the universe might pull them apart again. "You came back," Marin whispered. "I did," Lyra said, "and the trade stands." She lifted the case. A soft sound moved through the crowd. Relief. Awe, hope. Medical supplies arrived soon after, delivered by fast human courier drones. Human medicine worked quickly, carefully adjusted for Cathari biology. Within days, Marin's strength began to return. But medicine was not the only thing humans sent. They sent warning buoys for the borders, defense satellites small but effective, communication relays tuned to human response channels, protection. The agreement was not words anymore. It was action. As Marin recovered, Lyra told her everything. About Gray Harbor. About the attack. About how humans fought not for profit but for promise. "They stood in front of me," Lyra said. "They did not even ask if they should." Marin closed her eyes, listening. "We feared humans," she said softly, "but fear and truth are not the same." Word spread quickly. Other species listened. The galaxy paid attention. The coalition of outer systems convened. Observers shared recordings from Gray Harbor. Analysts studied human behavior again and again. They expected cruelty. They saw discipline. They expected indifference. They saw protection. They defended a child traitor, one delegate said, not because she was powerful but because she was under their word. "That makes them dangerous," another replied. "Yes," the first agreed. "Dangerous to those who break trust." Trade routes shifted. New agreements were written. Human presence on the frontier increased not through conquest but through request. Small species wanted human patrols, human advisors, human contracts. Humans did not take everything. They took responsibility. At Gray Harbor, repairs continued. Scars from the battle remained, not all of them fixed. Humans like to remember. Sergeant Aaron Cole stood near the viewing window, watching ships move in and out. Traffic had increased, not just human ships, alien ones too. The station chief joined him. "You've become famous," the chief said. Aaron sighed. "I hate that word." "You earned it," the chief replied. "The coalition sent an official note." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess, careful words, no real meaning." The chief smiled slightly. "They called humanity a stabilizing force." Aaron snorted. "That's a polite way of saying we don't back down." "Exactly." Aaron looked back at the stars. "Any word from the Cathari?" The chief nodded. "A message, personal." He handed Aaron a data pad. The message was short. Marin thanked him for keeping her daughter safe. She said her people would honor humans as long as humans honored them. Lyra had added a small symbol at the end, a simple drawing of a human standing beside a much smaller figure. Aaron stared at it longer than he meant to. Weeks passed, then months. One day an unfamiliar Cathari shuttle arrived at Gray Harbor, new, stronger than before. It carried official markings. When the airlock opened, Lyra stepped out again. She was still small, but she stood straighter now. She wore a robe with symbols of leadership woven into the fabric. Aaron felt something warm rise in his chest. "You came back," he said. She smiled. "This time my mother sent me, and she knows you will worry if I travel alone." He laughed quietly. "She's not wrong." Lyra bowed formally. "I am now a trade voice for my people. I asked to be assigned here." "You asked," he repeated. "Yes," she said simply, "because this is where my people learned what trust means." Trade resumed, stronger than before. The star maps opened new routes. Dangerous regions became bridges instead of walls. Humans led the way, their ships moving first, testing paths, mapping storms, losing some vessels but never stopping. Other species followed. Human losses were mourned but not hidden. Every fallen ship became a marker, a warning, a lesson. That too earned respect. Years later, children on distant worlds learned stories about humans, not stories of monsters, stories of guardians. They heard about the day a little alien girl came to trade alone, and humans chose honor over convenience. They learned that humans could be terrifying enemies, but unbreakable allies. On quiet days, Aaron would sometimes see Lyra standing by the viewing window watching ships pass. "What do you see?" he asked once. She thought carefully. "A galaxy learning," she said. Slowly, he nodded. "That's usually how it goes." She looked up at him. "Would you have done it again, if you knew the cost?" He did not answer right away. Then he said, "Yes, without hesitation." She smiled. Far beyond Gray Harbor, beyond Cathari space, beyond even the coalition, the galaxy shifted its balance, not because humans demanded it, but because one day they kept their word to a child, and the universe noticed.